Hello and welcome to the Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. We are live with two returning popular podcasters. We got Chris LeBron from Off the Ball. We got
What's
Mo
going on?
Murphy from UpNFlamz, and then we have a brand new guest on the show, Robert Cruz from Football and Chill. What's going on,
Going on
fellas?
there? Just chilling, bro. Just chilling, waiting for this football to start up.
Yeah, I'm ready
Yup, yup.
myself. So I
Chilling,
guess
man.
the first topic that we want to kind of talk about is the NBA restart. I guess Mo, we'll start with you on your thoughts on that.
Man, I'm ready for the NBA to restart. I know they acting like they don't want to. I know Kyrie's come out and kind of spoke against it. I know a few players have rocked with him speaking against it. I think they should. I do think they should restart. I understand we in a tough time right now with the Black Lives Matter movement and everything like that. But I think, you know, part of me is like I understand where Kyrie coming from, but he do have to evaluate the fact his platform comes from basketball. So I think that's a big part of it. If everybody get back in the games and everybody, the whole nation gonna be watching basketball. So I think they can use that platform while we all sitting at home watching them on our TV to be able to play. So I definitely want the NBA to return. If it does return, unfortunately, Corey, I hate saying this, but I love saying it at the same time. Your Lakers gonna win the championship. I want LeBron to win the championship, so I'm definitely rocking like that. But I do understand it's a tough time and everything like that. I want to see the NBA return for personal gain. All four of us here are sports podcasters. That's our hobby is talking sports. We can't talk sports with no sports going on. So that's definitely, a personal thing if I want basketball to come back. Um and then I know the whole country wants basketball to come back. So that's kind of why I stand on it. I hope they come back. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure we'll bounce back off of who's gonna win. I'll let somebody else take us into that. But that's why I stand on basketball coming back though.
Can you kind of reiterate that to Chris that the Lakers gonna win the championship? Because we just had a off the topic
Bro,
before the
Lakers
show
fans are the
started.
worst, man. They're the worst.
I
Yeah,
Yo,
guess
hey,
you
we are-
go ahead and talk about them Knicks, man. Are they even gonna be invited to the bubble?
Nah, man, we got our own bubble, man. We're on our own bubble, bro. We
Call it
don't
a
need that.
draft bubble,
It's scared. Yeah, man, the lottery, bro.
right?
Every year, the lottery.
Every year, man. That's we're used to, man. That's our thing. We want to be different. Going to the playoffs is just whack. We want to do our own thing and just get that draft lottery, try to get the number one pick, which we haven't got since like '84. So, but hey, it's gonna happen one day.
Yeah. So, Robert, I know you do have the Football and Chill podcast. Do you
Yep.
touch on basketball at all?
I do. I do. I follow basketball a little bit. The reason I chose just strictly football is because ultimately I do follow that a lot closer and a lot more. And so I just wanted to focus strictly on football. But I do follow basketball. I like where Kyrie was coming from. It's a good idea. It kind of goes hand in hand with. I can't think of the recruit's name. I think he's the number one recruit in the nation. Talking about going to an HBCU. Is the players are actually realizing the power that they have in their choices and in their words and in their platform, that they're realizing that, hey, if the stars aren't going to play because people aren't taking this things like this seriously, then ultimately people will take it seriously.
Yeah, I mean, if you have enough of those stars, because basketball, what I like about basketball's platform is it's totally different from the NFL. The players have a lot more power
Right.
than the NFL players, like as far as like what they say or what they do. I mean, it seems like with this commissioner, it's more so than it's ever been. With players more so speaking out and not having any kind of repercussion, having to worry about them being hit financially for something that they've done or said. And it's looked like it's more popular for more people to speak out with social issues and things like that and take this stance. So I love the NBA about that, but I just really honestly, like Mo said, from a fan standpoint, I'm ready to get live sports back, but my only concern was the player safety with the pandemic going on. But as far as like them protesting and sitting out basketball games to make a statement, I want to know what the second phase of that is. Okay, you sit out. Um, you want to boycott games, don't want to play or whatever. But what is the end game? What is it supposed to accomplish by you
Exactly.
not playing basketball games? So that's where I'm at with it. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly you're exactly right. It's one thing to sit out and all that, but what are you gonna do? Are you just sitting out just to sit out because everyone's doing it? I feel like a lot of guys are just being followers and just doing what everyone else is doing. You gotta have back it up. If you're not gonna play, you gotta do something to prove why you're not playing. Because and I think, and I've seen it from other people's standpoint with Kyrie, like because he's not playing, it's different. He's going to see it different because he's not playing. So his team's not in the, they would be like an 8 seed right now, and they don't have a chance without Kyrie to win a champ to put out KD to win a championship. So is he coming? I can see where people think that he's coming from a perspective where I'm not playing, so I don't care. Let's not play. He has a different perspective than if LeBron, because we all know LeBron wants to play. And
Right.
to me, everything goes behind LeBron. I know Kyrie's like a VP or whatever, and with Chris Paul and all that, but we all know who runs the league. It's LeBron. If LeBron wants to play, like what Pat Bev said, if the King wants to play, we gonna play. I think
And
it's that. If LeBron don't want to play, then everything changes. Because then LeBron don't want to play, then that trickles down to like, oh, AD don't want to play, Kawhi don't want to play. That trickles down. If the King don't want to play, nobody gonna play. But if he wants to play, he'll play. So, but I think Kyrie situation. I think that's also got. I think people try to also pick on Kyrie. Also, I think that's another big thing. They like to just get on Kyrie because he's a different cat. He's not your typical, he's a flat earther thing. He's different, and everything that went on in Boston and in Cleveland, I think people just think when he says something, they always just blow it out of proportion. So I think a lot of the stuff got blown out, and he's got beef with Kendrick Perkins and all that, and that stuff has gone really crazy. So if they don't want to play because they feel like their message is going to be tuned out and it's going to be forgotten about, I couldn't understand. But as long as you're doing something to keep that awareness alive, then that's their right. That's your right. If you don't want to play it because you think the message is going to be forgotten, then don't play, and that's cool. But also, I think another thing is this coronavirus is real, and especially in Florida. I mean, the numbers are getting. I've seen each day it's getting crazy because people are still not taking it serious. We think because it's nice. I mean, I know Florida it's nice all the time, but I know in New York, it started just really getting nice out, and people are out about doing. I'm like, guys, we still, we had crazy numbers in New York. We still got to be, make, this thing is still real, and it still can affect, and we could go through another big, big craziness, and then we're shut down again, and then everything shut down. So they got to be careful with that too. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they handle all of it, everything.
everything, especially like where I live at in Texas, I was kind of confused about how fast they started opening up the economy in reference to the pandemic and things like that. I work at a gym, and my main concern was how quickly our governor basically said that we weren't gonna rush to open things up, and then the following week they was opening up gyms and they was opening up like things where people congregate, a lot, and you have shared surfaces and things like that. So when it comes to basketball in the NBA, my biggest thing was player safety, and it seems like they pretty much had everything in line. They had the restriction what you can and can't do once you're in the bubble. You're pretty much in. I don't think they was allowing older coaches to be able to come. So they had it pretty much mapped out for me to, okay, it seemed like they had the players in mind, but then you have some that still really didn't feel comfortable playing in that environment. Then the social issues, became a factor, but it doesn't really seem like a lot of the other players are echoing Kyrie. It just seems like it's more so him. Like you said, if LeBron is playing, a lot of them are going to pretty much fall in line. Because a lot of them are waiting for that. I think they took pay cuts. This is at the end of the day, this is their job. It's an entertainment industry, but it's
Yeah.
a job at the end of the day. So I mean,
And
anybody
most
want
of
to
these
follow up on
guys,
that?
most of these guys aren't making 20, 25, 30, $35 million. Most of the league is made up of guys who are not making that crazy money. So we have
Yeah.
to put in that perspective too, that like most of 70% of the league is making, they're making good money, but they're not making money where they can afford to lose, you know. LeBron cannot play again and he's good. Kyrie, those top tier guys are good. But this is more about those, your ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th guys on rookie contracts, undrafted dudes who are trying to get that big payday. That's who it's going to affect this whole thing. So those guys might have different perspective. Like, I want to play because I need to get paid. And if you don't play, imagine if there's no basketball. That's going to affect basketball for years to come. As far as guys getting paid and stuff. And guys like AD, he's a free agent next year. That can affect his money. And I wonder what he's thinking, you know. And guys like Montrezl Harrell, who was a second round pick,
Right.
and is coming up on trying to get a big payday. Guys like that, are that those are the guys that I'm really interested to see how they think, because it's one thing for LeBron and Kawhi and AD, those guys, and Giannis, those guys already got monster deals. But guys like Montrez, like I said, second round pick who hasn't got paid yet, looking for a big contract. I wonder how they feel about all this.
Yeah.
Mo, you got anything about that?
Yeah. So, when we talking as sports fans, as sports podcasters. This is our thing. This is what we do. Whether it's a hobby, whether it's something, this is something that we decide to do, and we love talking sports. And sports is gonna make our world go round. But another thing, before people quick to jump and say, "Oh, y'all just want to see sports come back," y'all aren't thinking rationally. If they don't finish out this season, CBA gets canceled and they're
Yeah, they
able to
gotta.
renegotiate. And that's something that people aren't thinking about. And a lot of
Hmm.
you guys who aren't sports fans, us four sitting right here are diehard sports fans. So we read into this. We know this stuff. But a lot of people who aren't sports fans are like, it's all about the Black Lives Matter movement. And I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? I rock with it 100%. But you got to think about these guys. If they're able to renegotiate this CBA deal, these owners are greedy. You know what I'm saying? Even as much as high as paid as these superstar athletes are, they probably could even make more money. But greed comes in effect, and if this CBA can get renegotiated, you
Oh
might not see
yeah.
these super max contracts. These 5 year. Giannis is almost eligible for like what 5 year, $240 something million.
His deal could be the highest paid in league history.
Right, and with the NBA, they set the precedent of us being able to say the next year is next man up, and that's kind of where the NFL started going towards, and why a situation like Dak, where it's next man up. The NBA set that precedent of I'm a star and I'm the next guy paid, so that guy got paid this much last year. I want to get paid this much this year. Even if it's $1 more, they want to be paid more than the superstar that got paid before them. And if the CBA renegotiates, we might not be seeing these big deals. I mean, granted, it might go from 5 years 240 to 5 years 200 million, but a guy like Giannis isn't necessarily willing to leave $40 million on the table to stay in Milwaukee. You know what I'm saying? He's eligible for $240 million if he stay in Milwaukee. He may not be willing to leave $40 million on the table to stay in Milwaukee if it's not going to guarantee him a championship. Which is why I think the return of the NBA is so important, because, like you said, you were talking about guys like Montrezl Harrell, some of these second round picks who ain't really making no money when we talk about the NBA aspect. When we talk about a regular person aspect,
Yeah,
you
of
can make
course.
$1 million a year and you're making more than any of us may
Hmm.
see in the next 15 years. But when you talk about the NBA budget and what guys make, we talking about these second round picks, but we're not talking about, like you said, AD as a free agent. AD might be able to collect a fat check from LA, But if the CBA renegotiates, his money might go down, and it's not even off him bargaining to win the championship. Guys will take $40 million less if he can almost guarantee himself a championship. You know, we've been hearing these rumors of Giannis going to Golden State. That would be solely him taking less money to win the championship. And you know, it'd be a little more respectable than the KD situation. But you know, at the strength of the Black Lives Matter movement, are we willing to ask these black men, young, older, whatever, in their 20s and their 30s, are you willing to say, you know what? At the I want the black men to take less money. We have to maximize as much money as we can get in our lifetime. Black, white, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter your color. You want to maximize as much money as you're eligible for. That'd be like going and making $100,000, but you know what? Because I could be a manager in 2 years, I'm gonna make $40,000. Are you willing to leave that money on the table for the right now? So we can't ask these black athletes to not make as much money for a movement. Now, I'm like I said, I'm all for the movement, and they have a platform. A lot of these guys' platform starts with basketball, and that's the biggest thing that people aren't realizing is when Kyrie comes out and says we may not be able to have our platform. Kyrie is a basketball player first. You know, politics and basketball don't really mix. A guy like LeBron has made it mix, and he's made it mix very well. And I'm glad that these athletes are speaking out. I love it. I love that LeBron is able to share on Twitter, and he don't care whether he lose fans, gain fans. He's doing it because of his personal beliefs. But LeBron James has that platform because he's an NBA player. So if you go out there and set that platform while playing ball, people are gonna listen. I would even respect it if a guy like James Harden, after a loss, goes in and says, "Look, I know y'all want to talk about this game and how we lost or whatever. Game one of the first round of the playoffs, we took this L, but I'm not taking no questions if it doesn't refer to the Black Lives Matter movement." That's respectable. That's how you take your basketball platform and make it bigger than that. It's like, look, I know we just played a game. I know we just lost or we won. And I know you want to talk about my stats. You know, a guy like Harden putting up a 30-point triple double. That's what we want to talk about. But if a guy like Harden says, you know, I'm going to take my platform as a basketball player and I'm not going to talk basketball after a big game that the whole country watched, and we're going to talk about, you know, as a black man, I don't really care about my game. I love that I play ball, and I love that you guys are interested in my performance. But what I want to talk about is this Black Lives Matter movement. So if your question doesn't have anything to do with that and how we're going to go moving forward, then don't talk about it. That's even more respectable. You took your basketball platform and made it bigger as far as, you know what I'm saying, keeping the Black Lives Matter movement alive, because we don't want this to dwindle down until change starts being made. So at the same time, if you want change made, you can use your platform as a basketball player to create change in a sense. We've never had guys get on there in an interview after the game and say, I dropped 30, you know what I'm saying? I know this stuff going on in the world, but let's talk about my 30-point game. How about we get greedy? You know what? Forget my 30-point game. We won. I'm glad we're up 1-0 in the series, but let's talk about the Black Lives Matter movement. Let's talk about how we're going to create change. That'll change the whole aspect of sports and basketball players. If anybody, the basketball superstars have that platform more than the football superstars, because it's a star-driven league in the NBA as opposed to the NFL.
Facts.
Robert, you got any final thoughts on that?
Yeah, just to follow up on the CBA, I was looking it up, and so assuming that we are able to resume basketball, and the CBA doesn't get either renegotiated or straight up canceled this year, it expires in after the 2022-2023 season. Or that's when they have an opt out, but it's set to expire the 2023-2024 season. This is going to have far more reaching repercussions on the new CBA in 4 years. Because I guarantee there will be something, probably from the owner, saying that if there's something that the the league ends up getting postponed or canceled, they're able to recoup their money. They don't have to pay, whatever the case may be. Something's going to be in the next CBA, and I'm not going to go out and say that there's going to be a holdout, but there's probably going to be a holdout because of it, because this is going to be one of the driving factors in the next CBA agreements.
Yeah, just to kind of wrap this topic up, I really honestly think the players should really think hard on sitting out. because of that CBA and what the owners in the league is going to be able to do in the next one. So I really hope that they thought long and hard. Players like Kyrie and anyone that's following Kyrie be able to really analyze exactly what their next move is if this is in fact what's going to happen, because they've already lost significant amount of money already.
Yeah, for sure.
Next topic, I kind of want to go into the Jamal Adams situation. So he's an elite athlete. Anybody would benefit for his from his services, but I'm not really a big fan of players tweeting their way out of town. You know, we saw this with what happened with Jalen Ramsey. What I'm gonna, I know the Jets do not want to trade him whatsoever because they would have done it by now anyway at the deadline last year. With the Jalen Ramsey situation, they offered a king's ransom for him. They asked for a first and a second rounder, and I see the same thing the Jets is probably going to have to end up doing because they don't want to get rid of him. So if you really want Jamal Adams, it's going to be a lot that they're going to ask for to get this man out of New York. So I'll start with Chris since this is in your backyard.
Yeah, I mean that whole situation. I mean, we've heard about this. This was from last year. I mean, he did this last year with the whole wanting to get traded and one, but he has no leverage. He has zero leverage. He still has 2 years left on his deal with an option too. So and with everything going on with we don't know how the salary cap's going to look out in the future for football. How can you ask for a trade? Oh, I know he wants to be the highest paid, not just the highest paid safety. He wants to be the highest paid defensive player in football. And listen, he's a tremendous player. Don't get me. He's an all pro safety. He's good, but safety on the list of as far as importance is kind of on the bottom. You know, it does. I'm not taking away. It's like running back. Running back's important, but it's still not as valued as other positions. And the Jets straight up gonna have to tell him, bro, we're not gonna pay you that money, and we're not gonna trade you right now because we don't even know what's going on. We don't even know if there might even be a football season. So we can't get the right valuation for you. So you're gonna have to wait, because I'm sure they probably just be like, yo, let's just get rid of him, but we have to make sure we get the right deal. Teams are not going to be offering because listen, if you're trading for Jamal Adams, you got to give him a contract too. Because there's no way you trading two ones or one and a two or whatever, and not re-upping him. You know that doesn't make sense. That's why I don't get why Seattle did that with Clowney. Because they didn't even offer him a contract unless he comes back for like 1 year, $12 million. So Jamal Adams doesn't have leverage right now. He's still got a couple years left on his deal. And, I know he's played above his contract and all that, but man, this ain't the right time to be asking for a trade. He's going to have to wait this out, play this year out if there is a season, because, as we know, it feels like every day we get different news, whether we might get something, and we got players getting tested for positive for COVID, and you guys know how football is. There's so many people that are involved in it in the game day basis. There's probably I can think at least over 100, 150 people that are involved in each team, of our basis. So, but as far as Jamal and all that, man, he's a great player. If I'm the Jets. We haven't won. It's kind of it kind of reminds me of Odell being a Giants fan. That situation. I loved Odell, but it's not like he helped us win anything. We didn't win jack with Odell on the team. Now, it wasn't his fault. It's not the way the team is built. We haven't been great, but it's very similar to that situation where you got a tremendous player who's probably the best, maybe one of the best safeties in the league, but is he worth all this? It's one thing if it's a quarterback, if it's a pass rusher, it's a left tackle, you could deal with all that, but is it worth it? No, but he's gonna have to wait because we don't know what's going on. We don't know how football's gonna look. No team has had workouts with no training camp. We don't know nothing about what's going on. until they say okay, everything's back to normal, and everything. So Jamal has no leverage. He's gonna have to stick this one out because it's the wrong time to ask for a trade right now because no one knows what's going on. So and no team's gonna trade for anyone, not knowing what the salary cap's gonna look out for the future and all that. So it's not he's not gonna get traded. But if everything gets back to normal, if I'm the Jets, I send them Packer because they're not on a win now basis, and Jamal Adams just wants to play and try to win. So, and you saw the list of teams he wants; those are all playoff Super Bowl type teams. So, right now he has no leverage because we don't know what the hell's going on in sports. So he's gonna have to wait it out and just deal with it.
I've never seen a team that basically gave a player what they want that had still had years left on their deal. I see this getting ugly before it gets any better.
Mm-hmm.
You hit on a lot of interesting points, about the upcoming football season. A few coaches have voiced concerns about being able to play on some of the restrictions that's been set up for the league. John Harbaugh was one of the coaches that was a little bit outspoken about how it's humanly impossible for them to be able to abide by those restrictions because
Yeah,
I'm not sure if y'all gentlemen know that football cannot social distance.
you can't.
Uh,
You're literally
I
on
mean,
the left guard's right on the center. The center is next to the other guard. Attack
the
and in
huddle,
the huddle. How are you
the
going to
huddle,
social distance in the huddle? The quarterbacks are like, "Yo, Jimmy Fat, throw a slide." Z, like how we.
and
That's
then you
why I
have
think it's going to be
the
tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to
yeah.
be tough to get a season. It's going to man.
Yeah, and then the opposing teams, if you're yelling out plays, I mean, like, why are we even playing? Like,
Yeah, and there's going to be no fans too, so you're going to hear everything.
you're gonna hear all the calls, you're gonna hear all the cadences, whatever. I mean, they're not gonna be able to, fool anybody with any kind of trick plays or anything like that. So,
Yeah.
I guess, Robert, you're next. What are your thoughts on Jamal Adams in this trade?
So I think it's a perfect time for Jamal Adams to demand a trade. One, because the Jets are going nowhere. That's a fact. The ownership and management does not care to win. That's why they're letting Adam Gase go into his fourth year coaching them. He's a terrible head coach. We saw that in Miami. We're seeing that now. He's about, if he is able to pull off getting this trade, he's going to hit the doubleheader. Because, yeah, he wants to go to a contending team. That's on the whole list of teams that he listed. If he's able to go somewhere like Baltimore, Kansas City, Seattle, let's say his cap hit is only about $5 million per year for one of the, if not the best safety in the game. And I understand, Chris, what you were saying. Safety is not a high priority position like quarterback or a star receiver. But Jamal Adams, he plays in the box a lot. And he's in the box. He's able to see the gaps open up or hit those gaps for huge tackles. Safety, backfield covering. Now he's up in the box, doing all. So if he's able to go for $5 million somewhere, help them win a championship, he's not gonna stay with him because then, like you said, the new and then the up when he's gonna hit his second contract, he's gonna go somewhere else and he's gonna get paid. He's gonna get his ring on a rookie deal, and then he'll go somewhere else and get paid. So it's a perfect time, and in a sense, he's kind of betting on himself because yes, he has 2 years left, but let's say he balls out. They don't trade him this season, and we do have a full season. Balls out. That demand is just going to get higher. That trade ransom is just going to get higher. And the Jets are going to trade him. They're not going to let him walk in free agency and get nothing for him. If they do, that's stupid. And we know that's not going to happen. As dumb as that organization is, they're not that dumb. So when he balls out this season, he goes for 4 or 5 picks, not double digit sacks. He'll get maybe 6, 7 sacks. Tackles. I think in 2018 he had 115 tackles total. So when he balls out, that trade demand is going to go higher. The ransom is going to go higher, and the Jets will have to trade him. That's when he'll go to a contender. Maybe he'll win a ring, maybe he won't, depending on where he goes. But then after that, he'll get paid.
Yeah.
No?
I agree with Cruz. You're not gonna hear me say that much. Y'all listen to us in the future. You're not
Hey,
gonna hear
nobody,
us
not
talk
everybody
about
can be
that.
as smart as me.
But no, I think I know Chris said that Jamal Adams doesn't have a lot of leverage. I think he does. I understand Chris's point though, and Chris did have a valid point of arguing that he doesn't have leverage as far as we don't know what the salary cap is gonna look like. Even if there is a season, we don't know how much money they're gonna lose by playing the games on TV. It very well looks like there's gonna be no fans in the stands. I don't know how much money that is, but I know them thousands on top of thousands of seats that's sitting in them stands. I know not being able to sell those tickets, you're gonna lose a lot of money. Now you might gain a lot of money in the revenue of us sitting here and watching it on TV. So I do understand that point. And like I said, I don't know the revenue of how much they're making by watching the games on national television as opposed to how much they're making, by selling tickets. I don't know. But what I do know is Jamal Adams, he wants to win. Them 7 teams, them 8 teams that he put on the list goes to show that he wants to win. He put my Cowboys on there. I would love to see him come to Dallas. The only thing is that asking price that the Jets are gonna give for Jamal Adams is gonna be a little more than I'd be willing to pay as far as being a Cowboys fan. They're gonna want at least 2 first round picks, especially because the trade demands went sour when we were in trade talks for Jamal Adams last year. So the Jets are gonna look at Dallas and be like, if you want him, you're gonna have to pay a ridiculous amount. And it's not that I don't want Jamal Adams, but when you have to sit there and if you're Jerry Jones and if you're Mike McCarthy and whoever's sitting in that room debating this trade for Jamal Adams, you're literally gonna have to sit there and be like, is Jamal Adams gonna be the difference winning the championship? I'm torn between on that because I do think he could be. Our secondary is weak. That's the weakest part of our team. We have a strong offense, at least on paper. The secondary is the weakest part of our team. We have a good front seven. We have a great offensive line. We have a solid quarterback. Whether you think he's elite or not is a time for a different argument. We have an elite running back. We have an elite receiving core as a core. Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb. The only questions on the Cowboys right now is are the Cowboys going to be the Cowboys and have all that talent and still go 8-8? Which I understand. That's the toughest part about being a Cowboys fan is like that's what we tend to do. We did it last year. So that's the one question. And the other question is also that secondary. And is Jamal Adams, as great as he is he going to be able to make up for what we lack at corner? He's going to have to truly play safety at that point if he was to come to Dallas. Because for the simple fact, he's going to have to play safety. We can't blitz him because if our corners are spending their whole games getting burnt, we have to have somebody over the top being able to protect them deep balls, against when we talk about the Super Bowl aspect and the playoff aspect, we have to have a guy who's able to stop Michael Thomas from having a huge game. Adam Thielen from having a huge game. A lot of these top receivers.
Yeah.
And then if we want to talk Super Bowl, which I'm not ready to talk Super Bowl with the Cowboys, but if we even talk about AFC matchups, guys like Marquise Brown, who's a threat down the field, Tyreek Hill, when we start evaluating guys that can make it down the field, we have to know that Jamal Adams is going to be able to do that. I don't question his ability. I question some of his leadership. He don't seem like a great leader because a great leader wouldn't be demanding a trade like this.
That's the thing. He's not a great leader, and it's
that's
been
one.
people have said that on his team. Unanimous guys have said he's not really a team leader. So
And he's gonna want max money. Dallas has maxed their salary cap, and
that,
we
yeah,
still have
it's
not
gonna
paid
work.
Dak yet. And I know I kept it solely focused on Dallas. Now I think Jamal Adams will help a lot of teams win. I mean, just imagine if we wake up in the morning and we find out the Chiefs gave up 2 first-round picks for Jamal Adams.
They can afford to do it too.
Exactly.
They
And
can
we're
afford
going
to
to
do
go
it.
crazy. And we know you're going to be sitting here thinking, like, man, if the Chiefs ain't already be a cheat code, you know what I'm saying? They get Jamal Adams on top of that. They have Tyrann Mathieu and Jamal Adams at safety.
And guess who they have at quarterback? They got Patty Mahomes there, so
You know what I'm saying?
it puts
Or
him.
even the Ravens. The Ravens are a team that went 14-2. I know they kind of folded in the playoffs, but if he was to go to the Ravens, you know what I'm saying? That team is ultimately improved off a 14-2 season, which is very scary if you're anybody who has to face the Ravens. How does a team that's 14-2 get better?
And they got Earl
See those
Thomas
teams-
too.
Exactly. And we typically see teams like that take a step back because they go 14-2. You can't get too much better than that other than going 14-2 and winning the Super Bowl. But to ultimately improve your roster, because teams that good end up having to pay those guys. So to have a young quarterback be that good, to have a running back who's aging and isn't asking for a lot of money, and then draft a solid running back in the second round, like to be able to improve your team that way, trade for Calais Campbell without having to trade a ridiculous type of draft pick. You know what I'm saying? Not CJ Mosley. I'm sorry, he went to the Jet, but to be able to get the guy to replace CJ Mosley with Patrick Queen, like the Ravens have something going good for them
They
too.
drafted
It will
really
make a
well.
lot of sense. They drafted well. They did free agency well. They made trades in free agency well. It will make a lot of sense for a team like the Ravens to go get him. Um, Clearly, he just wants to win. The Bucks. The Bucks would also. They're in a win now mode. They got Tom Brady. I
Hmm.
understand you don't want to. You may not necessarily want to send 2 first round picks for your future, but if you're in a win now mode, getting Tom Brady, getting Gronk, drafting arguably, in my personal opinion, the best offensive lineman in the draft, he fell to you at 14. So being able to do all that, it will make sense for the Bucks to trade for him too. As much as my Cowboys are mentally in a win now mode, we have to show this year that we're in win now. We have to go 11-5, 12-4. We have to make a run in the playoffs to say it's going to be worth trading for Jamal Adams. I don't think right now it's going to be worth it because if you trade for Jamal Adams, you're going to have to pay him. Like Chris said, like even Cruz said it, you're going to have to pay him. And if you're going to draft him right now and have to pay him, you know, 20 million, 18, 19, $20 million a year, if you're not winning, it's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. And for a team like my Cowboys, we're locked up with the salary cap. We paid Amari Cooper. We're going to end up paying Dak. We may not pay Dak the 40 million, but we're going to end up signing him to a long-term deal. We're going to lock him in. Even if it's 36, $37 million a year. We paid Zeke, which goes back to Corey's point of like he hasn't seen too many players with 2 years, 3 years left on their contract get paid, but Zeke is that guy. You know, and that's probably one of the only few players that hold that leverage that Corey was talking about, which makes sense on what Corey was saying as far as guys don't get paid that early. Zeke is the only guy, and that's because we felt like as Cowboys, as an organization, our team was so great offensively because of what Zeke can do, the threat that Zeke can do. We almost started running our team like the Rams, the play action, make open it up for Dak. So I want Jamal Adams, and if I woke up and I found out the Cowboys or gave up 2 first round picks for Jamal Adams, would I be upset? No, because for one, that be the Cowboys telling us we're in win now mode. And do I know if we'll win now? I don't know, but it would be telling us that they're committing to win now. And I would also imagine that at that point, a Dak extension would come in the future. But for other teams like the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bucks, that makes perfect sense for them to go ahead and trade for Jamal Adams, give up them future picks. You have Mahomes, and you're going to be able to pay him regardless. You have Tom Brady, you're in a win now mode. The Seahawks, even if the Seahawks, you know, if he
Seahawks
would like to go to the
fit too.
Seahawks, you have Russell Wilson, you have your quarterback. If he goes to the Seahawks, he's going to make impact, a certain impact of Super Bowl bubble teams. For the Cowboys, we're not on the Super Bowl bubble yet. We're playoff bubble with hopeful playoff runs. That's not a team that trades for Jamal Adams and gives up their near future. Teams that are on the Super Bowl bubble are teams like I said, the Ravens, the Bucks, the Chiefs, the Seahawks. Those are guys with Super Bowl winning quarterbacks that would be able to trade for Jamal Adams. Now he will make enough of a difference on the defense that he could separate those kind of teams from winning the championship or not winning the championship. So that's why I stand on Jamal Adams. I would love to see him in the Cowboys uniform. I love him to see him throw on that 33 for the Cowboys. But it just doesn't make sense for us as much as it makes sense for the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bucks, even Philly. I don't want to see him go to Philly, but it'll make a lot of sense for Philly. They kind of invested in their secondary. It's a lot stronger than it was last year with Darius Slay. They signed Nicky Roby Coleman, you know, stuff like that. So you add Jamal Adams on the top of that. That makes the Eagles very scary with Carson Wentz as long as he can stay healthy. And even the Texans also. Their secondary is very questionable. They have a nice young secondary, I think, with having Conley, with having Hargraves. So I think if you throw a veteran like, and he's not too much of a veteran, but a third, fourth year guy like Jamal Adams on the top of that, and Conley gets burnt, but he has compensation behind him with Jamal Adams being able to cover that. I think that makes for a very solid secondary with young corners who are still learning and still developing and get better. And they have a Super Bowl potential quarterback in Deshaun Watson. It just makes sense for a lot of other teams. And even though he's from Dallas and the Cowboys are on this list, it just doesn't make as much sense for us as it makes for other teams, some of the other teams on that list.
For me, I don't really watch a whole lot of New York Jets games, but when I did watch it, I didn't really see him do a lot of drop out, do coverage. I see him playing more so in the box.
He's an in-back safety, pretty
Yeah,
much.
this. I mean, he's disruptive. He's a great team leader, but we need somebody to turn over the ball for the Cowboys. That's what we were having problems with Byron Jones. That's why we let him go. I think we'll probably see more of the same. I don't really see a whole lot difference he probably could have made with the Cowboys. To me, I don't know. I didn't see a whole lot of games. He did. He was one of the biggest defensive leaders on that win that they got against us.
Yeah.
I just could not believe that that they end up beating us. But we'll
I
see.
mean, you're the Cowboys. Stuff like that happens, you guys. You should know that.
I think the modern day safety, Jamal Adams fits the modern day safety. We don't have our Ed Reeves and our Troy Polamalu who's gonna lay you out in the middle. Jamal Adams is a big hitter now. Don't get me wrong, but the NFL doesn't allow us. We part of us of holding on to the early 2000s, mid 2000s of football. We gotta let the positioning go. Just like we let it go with basketball, and now at this point, basketball don't have positioning. You have your best five on the floor and it's starting five. Football, it's not the generational safety of your Ed Reed, your Ronnie Lott, your Troy Polamalu. We don't have those anymore. Hence the why Isaiah Simmons draft stock was so high. We have guys, you need safeties that are able to be able to blitz and be able to coverage and be able to be a nickel corner on top of being a safety. That's what the safety demand is now. And Jamal Adams fits that perfectly, and that's the way the NFL is going. So I do think Jamal Adams will help any team that he goes to. I think he will help the Cowboys. I think he could he could separate and put the Cowboys into the Super Bowl bubble as far as those teams if we were to get them.
Hmm.
And I know you're going to say the Cowboys are going to be the Cowboys. I fully understand that. But look, if we were to get Jamal Adams,
Eight
you
and
as the
eight.
Giants fans and Cruz as a Redskins fan would be like,
Yo,
oh,
the
man,
Redskins,
damn.
man. These Redskins are
Hey, y'all just
they're on
keep
the
sleeping on
rise.
us.
Yeah,
That's
They're
what
on
I'm
the
gonna just
rise.
keep
saying, like,
sleeping.
I can't
Jamal
talk shit.
Adams.
My team's going to be on the clock next year, so
But yeah, if we was to get Jamal Adams, it would set us not necessarily over the top where you'd be like the Cowboys are going to go to the Super Bowl because we still have other questions. But we would make a much scarier team. But is it worth it for the price? Is it worth being scary now as opposed to possibly being scary 3 years from now?
Here's the thing. So the thing with the Cowboys is you can say that it would be worth it if they would have made a run last year or the year before or the year before. If they were making deep playoff runs, coming close to at least getting to the NFC Championship game, maybe into the Super Bowl and losing it. If you were on the edge, yes, 2, 3, 4 draft picks, it doesn't matter. And you think that will set you over the top, sure. But when you're struggling just to make it into the playoffs, a safety is not your answer. A safety that can play in the box is not the answer.
I fully agree with you, Cruz. As far as you saying that, I agree with you. Like, and that's why I would hesitate if we were on that Super Bowl bubble. Make the move. Give up your 2 first round picks and the second round pick. Give it up. But with us going 8-8 with that talented roster, we have a top five talented roster, but we don't have top five finishes. We're not 12-4, 13-3, 14-2 like we should be based on our roster. No true football fan will argue that the Cowboys shouldn't be a top team in the league, regardless.
Exactly.
And so I do agree with you. Is if we did make a run last year and we did make it to the NFC Championship, or we did lose in the Super Bowl or make it to the Super Bowl, whatever, then I'd be like, you know what, jump the gun and do it because he's going to be the difference. He's going to make that difference because I do think he is going to make that difference. But with us going 8-8 is why I would be so hesitant to give up so much of our future for guaranteed. Like if it was a quarterback, it'd be different. If we were talking about us trading for Aaron Rodgers, it's different. If we were talking about us trading for Drew Brees, that's a whole different conversation. Give up the future for right now, because right now, ultimately, year in and year out, you don't want to think 10 years from now and sell yourself short on winning the Super Bowl. You don't want to think 5 years from now and sell yourself winning the Super Bowl. I don't think we'll sell ourselves short by leaving Jamal Adams where he's at. I think we should leave him where he's at. And
yeah.
if they lower the price, jump on it. But if what they want is at least 2 first-round picks at the very least,
He's not
then
worth
I
it.
think we just
He's not
we
worth
gotta
it.
let him be. He's arguably the best safety, and there's a couple other safeties in that argument. Derwin James, Earl Thomas, there's other safeties in that. But he's not going to take us over the top to where we go from 8-8 to now you're talking about the Cowboys are Super Bowl contenders. If it was a guy that would take us from us going 8-8 to be Super Bowl contenders, I'd tell you jump on it right now.
Yeah.
But that's not going to be the case with Jamal Adams, so I don't want to see us do that.
It all comes down to Dak Prescott, and if he takes his game to the next level. If he takes his game to the next level, it doesn't matter if you add a safety or whatever. If he takes the game to the next level, then you guys will be 11, 12, 13 win football team, and you'll get to so. But if he digresses, then it don't matter if you had Jamal Adams or you had Derwin James or whoever, because you won't be in the playoffs. Everything comes down with the Cowboys like most teams, it comes down to the quarterback. If the quarterback, like for the Giants, if Daniel Jones takes that next step, hell, we could maybe sneak into the playoffs. But if he's the same or he digresses, we're going to be talking about having the number 1 pick next year. So just like it's all about Redskins too. Dwayne Haskins. If Dwayne Haskins takes that next step, hell, we can talk about the Redskins because they got a nice defense. If Dwayne Haskins balls out, he's got weapons too. The Redskins could win the division. This is the division where any team can win it. So and it all comes down to quarterback play. It's just that simple.
Redskins should have been talking
Corey,
to Cam.
come defend me now. Come defend me now, Corey.
So, okay, let's talk about the Redskins should have been talking to Cam. That's what I'm gonna say about that. Like, I don't think
it's hard though without getting his medicals and working him out. And with today's climate, you can't really tell how he's looking. So you just can't sign him and just think, okay, that's 2015 Cam. We could reinvent him and he can go back to that. So without getting him on the field and actually looking at him and not just going off Instagram videos and all that, you got to get him in your facility. You got to work him out. You got to get him a physical, make sure he's healthy, and see how he works with your guys. That's the only way you can really tell if Cam would be a good fit. But right now, you can't tell who. We don't even know how Tom Brady is going to be in Tampa Bay because he hasn't worked out with his team. I know he did a little workouts recently, but he hasn't worked the system. He hasn't talked to coaches. So it's going to be. When the football starts, if it starts, it's going to be the first couple weeks are going to be bad.
If you're in a situation like Washington was in, like I get all that you're talking about, but we're talking about the Redskins, and I don't mean to, just keep on talking about
Cruz is getting on your skins, man.
I'm sorry, man. I remember just you take that chance, just knowing what he possibly could be. Because you don't have anything with Dwayne Haskins. I already know that. Like they didn't even want to play him when he first, they started getting bad for him. That's why what was the coach?
Jay Gruden.
Gruden. They didn't want to just play him. When it stuff started really getting bad, they got all the way down to the depth chart. And they were like, okay, I guess we'll just play him now since Daniel.
Oh, he wasn't ready. He definitely wasn't ready to play when he played. Definitely.
That's because the coaching staff didn't get him ready.
Yeah.
He was completely right. Dan Snyder wanted him just like Dan Snyder wanted RG3. Yeah. He was pressing the draft. Dwayne Haskins, his local kid, all of that. Jay Gruden didn't want him. They didn't want him. When they finally did put him in, it was against the Giants. They just threw him to the Wolves.
Yeah, that was
unfair. He had no starter reps. And as much as we like to say, oh, if you're a professional athlete, you should always be ready. First team reps going up against an NFL defense, unless you're actually getting legit reps, you're not going to be ready.
No.
Plain and simple.
Ready. He wasn't ready at all that game. I remember watching it. I'm like, oh, he looks scared.
It was rough.
Scared. And that's not fair. You should never put your quarterback, and I don't want to hear like, oh, he should be. No. That's not fair to a guy. Because you're just you're feeding him to the wolves and you're just expecting him to fail. And that's just wrong. I don't care if he was, because I heard they wanted Daniel Jones. That was another room. I know Jay Gruden wanted Daniel Jones.
Yep.
That's what they wanted. So that's why the Giants took Daniel Jones at 6.
Yep. Yeah.
So because the Giants taking Jones at 6 was kind of a reach. But then when I heard that, no, there was the Redskins and I believe a few other teams were really it. But I know the Redskins, they wanted Daniel Jones. So the Daniel Jones would not have been there with the Giants, because Giants had 2 other first-round picks. He wouldn't have made it to, I think, 17 was the next Giants 17. Pick. And the Redskins, I believe, had 16? Around that range.
15.
Yeah, 15. So he wouldn't have lasted if they had just said, oh, we'll wait for Daniel at 17. The Redskins would have took him, and then we would have took Dwayne Haskins most likely.
Right,
So
right.
but I think Ron Rivera is looking at Dwayne and says I can work with him because or else they would have picked up another legit veteran to push him to be the starter. They would
Right.
have got a Cam Newton or whoever else, Danny Dalton, someone of that, of that stature to be, compete with him. They got the kid, the dude that was playing with the Panthers.
Kyle
That
Allen.
guy. Yeah.
Cal,
I
yeah, Kyle
mean,
Allen.
if Dwayne Haskins can't beat him out, then that's on Dwayne Haskins. It's
Right.
that simple. So
And
they're giving Dwayne, like, Dwayne, we want you to be the guy. We believe in you. And Ron Rivera is, to me, Ron Rivera is. I want him to be the Giants coach. He's a tremendous football coach. He's a leader of men, and I think he could really, what the Redskins had with Gruden. He was a lame dunk coach. He was gone. He didn't really care. It didn't really matter. He don't care. He's gone.
yeah.
But with Ron Rivera, I feel like he's gonna really build, him, build Dwayne to really get his confidence going, and just make him believe that he's gonna be the guy. And I think he's gonna have success because he's super talented. And you saw even in the Giants game when they played the Redskins, he played good. He played
In the
good.
second game, yeah.
In the second game, I wish we would have lost that game because we would have got Chase Young.
I'm glad y'all didn't get Chase Young.
But that's still, I can't believe we won that game. I just, whatever. But whatever. It happened. But he looked good in that game. And he did look good towards the end, his last couple of starts. So that gives you hope, and you're getting more weapons. Terry McLaurin there already. You're developing. Hopefully, Guy stays healthy so that you can establish a run game. I was a big Haskins fan coming into the draft. What he did at Ohio State. Mo knows what he did at Ohio State. He was tremendous there. He put up stats. So I still believe it. But it's all what you get drafted to, man. And if you have the right coaching, you could take it to the next level. If you got bad coaching, you'll look like crap like he did last year at some points. So it's this coaching staff was not going to allow that. I think they're definitely going to help him, and he's going to be put in good situations. They're not going to just force everything on him. He's going to be good, and I'm hoping for success. Even though it's the Redskins, division rival, I root for guys that I like, and I like Haskins, and I hope he does well.
So, last topic of the day: the Dynasty Football League, FNC Pod League. This is Robert's league.
No, it's gonna be my
tell
league
us-
because I'm gonna win everything. So this is my league. I'm taking over.
Big talk
This
from
is my
somebody who
first
hasn't
one.
paid up hasn't paid up yet.
Oh no, I got you, bro. I got you.
Nah, shit, nobody's paid. I haven't even paid yet.
This is my first Dynasty League. So tell us a little bit about it, Robert.
Yeah, so my first time playing fantasy football was, I think, my junior or senior year of high school. It was fun. Played it with a bunch of randoms on ESPN. Then I started playing with friends. And one year, at my last command, someone that I was in a league with, and I wanted somebody. I was like, "Yo, I'll give you a third round draft pick next year. Like, let me know who you want in that pick, and I'll draft him for you." And it was kind of like a haha, that would be cool if you could do something like that. And then I finally did hear about a dynasty league, which it's continuous every year. Your whole roster goes over to the next year with you, and you can trade draft picks. You can do all that. And I know some of us have already made a few trades. I have 2 first rounders next year, so Trevor Lawrence, let's go.
He's tanking for Lawrence already, bro.
Hey, I'm just gonna be real. This draft, so I'm in 2 leagues this year. This draft did not go the way I thought it was going to go, and I'm looking to the future. 2-3 years from now, y'all watch out.
But that's the fun part about that.
Yeah,
So you can look.
it really is.
That's what I love about that. And this is my first year doing. This is my second dynasty league, and I'm trying to get my other league that I've been doing for years, for like 10 years already. I'm trying to get them to do dynasty because I just think it's more fun to do it that way. If you have a team, and that's your team for for however long you want to do it, and you could trade picks, trade players and picks. I think that's just fun, and it makes the draft. There's more strategy in the draft, and
Yep.
you could trade future picks. It's like being a GM. It's kind of like
Exactly.
being a GM. And I think that's a fun aspect. We get to play GM for a day, for a year, whatever amount of years, and just have fun with it. And you do it with, it's even more fun when you're doing it with other people you know. You know,
Right.
know each other, and we could have fun with it, talk trash, and just have fun with it, and just go with it and see what happens, and see we can go back in 4 or 5 years and be like, oh man, my team, I won this many chips, or I'm drafting first every year. So I think that's fun. It adds another element to it, like because when you just do a regular draft and it's year in year out, it gets kind of like, all right, this guy does this strategy, two running, three running backs. This allows you to just your team, so it makes it even know that, okay, I got this guy for 3 4 years, and then all right, let me think about the all right. So who's the running back for the Titans? Who's the backup running back for the Titans? Maybe he could be the starter in 2 years. We don't. So it just makes you think more, and then thinking about, all right, should I really go for it this year, or should I try to maybe not win too much so I could try to get Trevor Lawrence or someone next year, or whoever's coming out, or someone like that, So it's fun. I think it's something that I'm going to do with all my leagues and just do strictly Dynasty, because I just think that's the best way to play fantasy.
So Mo, why haven't you accepted my trade request?
Still trying to trade Julio.
Yeah, I gave him
Hey,
a good
so look,
deal.
so look. It's
I need a
not that
running
you
back.
didn't give
I
me a
need a
good
running
deal.
back. I know that.
I'm analyzing. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see what these other deals gonna be like. It's not that I won't accept it. I'm just waiting to see what I
Hey,
can get.
trying to
I
hit
love
deal.
your
Trying
deal. You
to-
know what I'm saying? Yeah, I love your deal. Don't get me wrong. It's possible that it
that,
gets accepted,
that means he's
but
waiting for
I'm
other
just waiting to
offers.
see
He's
Yeah.
trying to
what
hear
gets
from other
called in
people.
the future.
But yeah, I'm more of a. I like to look and wait to make deals. I know a lot of people hit me up try to make trades. I like to wait because, like you said, we don't know what's going on with football yet. So I don't want to make a deal that I'm gonna regret, or something like that. Or someone gets hurt when training camp starts. So I kind of wait till training camp. If we get training camp, that's when I'll start looking to make a little bit more deals, see where things are going. I'll get more of a more feel of making trades. But right now, I'm gonna sit back. I like how my team looks, and sit back and just wait a little bit before I start making wheeling and dealing.
So
I think my
man,
team could surprise. I think my team could surprise a lot of us this year. I was just looking over it, and it's not as bad as I thought it was. I'm just
What was the most surprising pick that from any team, and that you like? Oh, okay, I wasn't
so
expecting that.
I love her. I love my wife. We all had the same reaction when she did it. When she took Joe Burrow in the fourth round, and she was pick 10, so she was on the turnaround. So she had like 410 and like 5-1, 5.1, and she took. I don't remember who she took with the pick before, but then she took Joe Burrow, and I was like, I'm hoping that in 3 or 4 years it'll end up being more of a steal than it is, a reach
She took
for
left
her
belt.
sake.
Took left belt with the pick before.
Okay, that's right. She did take Le'Veon Bell, the pick right before that. Yeah, but because she drafted Lamar Jackson with her first pick too. So I mean,
He stole my pick.
right. Well, Corey stole mine. That's the whole reason I moved up from 5 to 3. I thought I'd be good. I was like, and I even thought about it. I was like, third overall, I'll be good taking Mahomes. Because all the mock drafts and all the average draft position, Mahomes was like 39th average draft position, which was crazy.
I think that's based off like regular. I think regular like fantasy, like a regular.
No, but even in regular fantasy,
Yeah,
you're waiting till you're waiting till round 4 to take Patrick Mahomes. Even just in a
Yeah, in my other dynasty league, I took him one. I had the number one pick.
so did I in my other one.
I took him number one.
The only thing with taking quarterbacks is most people don't take quarterbacks until the 5th or 6th round. We're not used to the NFL being so loaded. You know what I'm saying? With wide.
Let's see, who quarterback did I take? My first quarterback's Kyler Murray. I think we lost Mo there, but I took Kyler Murray in round 6.
so who is your starting quarterback?
Who mine?
Mine,
Yeah, Chris.
Mine's is Kyler Murray.
Oh, so you got Kyler Murray. And who you have?
I got
Robert?
Kyler Murray and Tua.
I'm like 80% of my team is quarterbacks right now. I have Russell Wilson, is my starter. I have Teddy Bridgewater, Dwayne Haskins, and Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Garoppolo,
Oh, you
and
got
call and Kaepernick, but that's just for the culture.
I think
all right.
Kaepernick
You took
will get on a
Kaepernick.
team. Cap
So do
will
I.
get on a team. I think he will get on a team. So what do you think he's gonna be able to bring to the table?
Kaepernick, nothing. He's not going to bring anything to the table. He's been out of the league for almost 4 years. He's I don't like his throwing motion. That little fake workout that the NFL put together for him last year.
Yeah.
I don't like his throwing motion. There wasn't much zip on the ball. I mean, maybe he could work on it. Maybe he can, once he gets back with an NFL team with a quarterbacks coach working on that, he can improve. But I think right now the league is just trying to sign him just to get rid of that bad image that they have from 2017 when they essentially blackballed him from the league.
They clearly did it. It's obvious.
Yeah.
They're on an apology tour. Like, oh,
Yep.
we should have listened to him. Well, I mean, come on now. You guys listen to the owners and all the fans who are so, oh my God, he disrespected the flag. Well, meanwhile, he never really did because,
Never.
it was never about the flag.
Right.
Police brutality. So people just, and it's obvious the owners were getting harassed by the fans that you better not sign them or we're not going to come, and they got scared that they're going to lose half their fans and Odell too, and it was like, just don't sign them. It's simple.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell me that with all the quarterbacks that have played in this league, and we've seen a lot of trash quarterbacks in this league, trash quarterback play, that he was not better than
Nathan Peterman.
and Nathan Peterman and Alex Taney, who's a Giants backup, who's 32 years old and has like 10 career passes. You can't tell me he's not better. You could say whatever you want that his play was on the decline, but that's also because of the team. The team was on the decline. I think people from that perspective, offensive line was trash, receivers core was trash. They just fired Harbaugh, so that was his guy. So the next coaching staff wasn't, there was so many aspects of why Kaepernick struggled those last couple of years.
Right.
It wasn't just because Kaepernick's play was bad. It was because there's so many factors, especially
Right.
people, there's so many factors that could be why you're not playing up to your potential. So, it's just, I don't get why he was better than a lot more starting quarterbacks. He was probably better than a lot of these quarterbacks. He went to a Super Bowl just off his his football card. You just look at his stat, like Super Bowl. He went to, and he throws that pass a little higher. We're talking about maybe the 49ers having the greatest comeback ever at that time, Super Bowl history. So, he got blackballed. It's that simple. It's obvious he was blackballed, and it's wrong. It's clearly wrong, but they care about money so much. It's obvious they cared about more about the money than the actual what his motive was, and they took it out of proportion. Of course, they flipped it and made it into a whole. He's against the United States. He hates his country, and they just got scared of it and they blackballed him. But I hope he gets an opportunity. I don't know if he'll have success because 4 years, especially playing quarterback. He's going to be rusty as hell, learning a whole new system, and is he really willing to be, being a backup? Because he's going to be a backup if he would be.
Well, I mean, if he really wants to play, he's definitely not going to be a starter anywhere.
No,
I mean, they can do with him kind of like what Tennessee did with Mariota last year after they benched him for Tannehill. Mm-hmm. Put him in specific packages inside the 10, inside the 5, try to get, a few yards. Yeah. Use his legs, because I'm sure he's still fast. He's still quick.
He's still running, yeah. His athleticism is not going to go away. But as far as just, 4 years away from not reading defenses, you're going to,
it's going to be rough.
It's going to take.
He wasn't really.
He wasn't really that type of quarterback. Yeah, he wasn't
he wasn't
efficient passer. He wasn't like he's going to go through his first progression,
right.
third. He was just like if that first progression wasn't there, he was taking off.
It breaks down. He's going to take off running. Yeah,
it breaks up. Yeah. So I hope he gets an opportunity. I don't see it happening. I really don't. He might get a camp invite, and that just for show. I think that it's going to come down. It's going to be a dog and pony show. That just hey, Goodell's going to be like, hey. Sign him for training camp just to say we're trying to, and something. It's going to be a publicity stunt, and that's why I don't want it to be. If he's going to sign with a team, on the signing team because he can actually, be contributor to that ball club. So I
Yeah.
don't see it happening. Though. I really don't, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's pretty much what the last meeting was a dog and pony show,
Yeah,
because I've
that's
never
exactly.
you never in the history of the NFL have you ever seen them put on that kind of training thing special for just one player. You've never seen that before, and so they was basically looking for him to do something that was a little bit worth more than he's worth, like basically worth more than what he's worth. I guess he's worth the trouble. So whenever he moved it, it was like, up, see, I told y'all he was he was too much trouble. Then they was able to say, okay, now that's our out, because they was trying to
Hmm.
find something to basically put the nail in the coffin that we are not blackballing him. There's no collusion going on. Look, we gave him an opportunity, and look, this is what he did with it.
Uh-huh.
So I would love to see him back in the NFL, but I really don't even know if he even wants to play football anymore. I really don't, because even though he's been out for a while, he's basically said he want to play, but I just don't really see that desire of him wanting to play football anymore like he was when he was playing for San
We,
Francisco.
we need
Yeah,
we
that
need him
was
to speak up more too. Also, he's kind of been silent too. So he's got to speak up and be like, "Yo, I want to play. Simple. I want to play.
yeah,
I'm ready. Let's go." You know.
yeah.
I
His
know they did
girlfriend's
the
been
whole.
talking more than him.
Yeah, she's talking more than it, and that comes with a lot of things with his whole. He needs to speak up more as far as with all the social things too. It seems like, he has other people talking to him, and we want you to speak, bro. We need you
Right.
to speak up more. We understand your move, but if what comes from your voice, it's more powerful.
Hmm.
Because you're the leader
Yeah,
of this. We need your voice more. I don't need you to tweet. We need you to speak up on this. But I don't care what platform you use, who you go to. But you need to speak up more about all the social injustice, all everything you believe in, and then bring up the football stuff. I know there's a whole legal thing too, so maybe that's something that he can't speak about because I know Goodell can't even mention his name. They
Yeah.
can't even mention his name. So that's why when people got on Goodell, I was like, you can't really get on him because he says his name. That's another 20 mil for Cap, and they already gave him a whole lot of money. So
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, well, chill, we can't give him any more money. He's already made
Right.
bad money from that whole lawsuit. But I wish we see him speak more. I think he needs to speak out more and just be like, yo, man, I'm around. Let's play. But we need to hear from him. We always hear from other people. Let's hear. I want to hear from Cap. Like, yo, Cap, go on a IG live, something, do something. Go on ESPN,
Right.
Fox Sports, go on something. Be like, yo, I want to play football. I am ready. I've been prepared. I'm ready to go. I'm sharp. My mind's sharp. I've studied playbooks. I've done all this. I'm ready to play football. That's what I want to do. I love football. He needs to say, I love football. And
right,
maybe that
right.
could get me okay. Maybe he's taking it because that's the thing. People might be like, does he really love football? Is he really feeling football? That's the one thing I think. Some teams might be like, does he really love it? Are we going to just do this dog and pony show and stuff? So that's something that he needs to go and be like, yo, I want to play. Simple. I don't care. I don't care about any of this. I don't care about the settlement. All this. I want to play football. And that's it. And he's going to continue to do his kneeling stuff. Whatever. So teams are going to know that's going to happen. But if he says he's ready to play, hopefully that can help bring more, have more teams, more owners comfortable. And, you know how, these owners are, they might just be like, let's do it. But, they'll also have the owners that still get those fans that be like, I'm not going to support the team if he's on the team. So
Right.
it's in a tough situation. But like I said before, man, I just don't see him playing ball. But like I said, I hope so. I hope he gets an opportunity to play because, there was a couple years he played. When he got to those NFC championships in the Super Bowl, he was fun to watch. He was fun to
Hmm.
watch. He was killing the Green Bay Packers. And that's always fun to see when the Green Bay Packers get destroyed. So, but it's going to be interesting to see how what happens with him.
Right. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the show on that note. Robert, since this is your first time on Out of Bounds, go ahead and let everyone know how they can follow your podcast.
All right. So I'm on all the major platforms: Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, all that. I'm off of Anchor is the hosting platform that I'm on. You can find me at Football and Show Podcast. Go hit up my Facebook page and Instagram are both Football and Show Podcast. I put polls up on some of them. Those when you'll see what I post when I post it. Hit me up on Twitter, FNC Pod. That's where I'm active the most with other people. I put a lot of polls on there, answer polls. I share a lot of stuff. I mean, the three of us or the four of us with Mo included, we interact all the time. We're always going off of each other's stuff. Yeah, definitely hit me up on any of those. Just stay on the lookout for everything I'm putting out.
Chris, I know you had some merch just drop. You want to talk about your
Yeah.
podcast and your merch?
Yeah. So Off the Ball podcast, you can find me on all podcast platforms. I just switched over to Podbean, so I'm on Podbean right now as my main where my podcast is based at. But I'm on Podbean now. But you can find me. I post a lot of shows on YouTube. Also working on doing more stuff for YouTube. But on Instagram, Twitter, Off the Ball Pod, Facebook page, Off the Ball Podcast, and yeah, the merch. I just got production started today, so I'm really excited about that. So I'm working on. I got shirts, hats coming. I got wristbands I already made. So I'm excited about that. That's what I've been really working on these last few weeks. I haven't really done a lot of podcast work. Probably like 10 days. I haven't even posted a podcast. I've been really working on the merch stuff. That's probably been my focus on. But I'll get back to doing the podcast stuff next week. I got some shows lined up for next week. But yeah, this is fun, and networking with you guys it's been really fun. I think this is, I never knew there was a podcast community like this, and to find guys like you two, and Mo also, we all help each other out too. I think that's a beautiful thing that we do. That everyone looks out for each other. If you don't know one thing, one other guy might know something and it can help you out. I feel like we all, our community of podcasting, we all help each other out. And I think that's something that not a lot of people do. Everyone's looking out for their own, gain. And I understand that aspect of, competitiveness, but it doesn't feel like, we're not really competing with each other. We're trying to help each other out because, of course, we all want our podcast to blow up and get on, and be on Sirius XM and Fox Sports and the ESPN. We all want to get there, but it's also good to make sure we help each other out. And that's something that I've really enjoyed because you learn something. I learn something new every day. People come to me advice. I'm like, God, I'm still learning about the podcast game. It's you learn everything about editing and what software to use, what mics to use, what audio boards to use, what all this stuff, what podcast platforms to go on, what's the best one, what all these StreamYard and all these other stuff, these live platforms. So, you learn so much from all these other podcasts. So, I've learned a lot from you guys, and this is dope. Mo too. It's great to connect with guys like you guys. We're all over the country. So for this, this is awesome that we get to do this, and I root for you guys. Big time, and hopefully we all make it big one day, and we could talk about this on our boat one day.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
I'm just really excited about everything that's coming up. I'm excited to hear some of the new content that you gentlemen are having on your podcast. And there's a tight community. I just like you, Chris. I really didn't know how tight it was,
Yeah.
but I've really gotten a lot of great feedback from other podcasters. A lot of help pushing my show forward. I look forward to doing more shows with y'all. I'm definitely looking forward to this Dynasty Football League and see how it plays out. It's my first one, so really excited about that.
No.
With that being said, we're out.
Yeah, guys. Take care, guys, and be safe.
Take care, man.